There, it's Kayla Moore, your songwriting coach and law of attraction guide. Today, we're going to talk about why it's important to pick the right songwriter or artist name for yourself. So, number one, we're going to talk about why it's important. Number two, we're going to talk about how to pick the right name. And number three, we're going to talk about what to do after you decide on that name. So you don't have to legally change your name, but a lot of times it helps to go by a different name as an artist. This name can also be called your alias. It can be your pseudonym, your pen name, or your alter ego. So first, let's talk about why it's important. It's important because it eliminates confusion in the marketplace. We don't want to have a whole bunch of people with the same name floating around, so people will get confused. Another reason why some people choose to use a different name is because maybe they don't like their birth name. Maybe their birth name is too hard for people to remember or pronounce. And maybe sometimes you just don't like your name and you want to have a different name as an artist. Maybe you already had an alias and you want to have a new alias because you're changing your image. For example, do you remember when Snoop Dogg decided to be called Snoop Lion when he was putting out some reggae music? And do you remember Prince? I don't know, he was going through some kind of evolution and he changed his name to a symbol, an actual symbol. And no one knew how to say it. And so people just said, every time they wanted to refer to him, they said the artist formerly known as Prince. So also, I wanted to bring up Kanye West's name. So Kanye West officially changed his name to Ye in the court some time ago. And the reason he did this, let me read a quote quickly from what he said. He said, I believe Ye is the most commonly used word in the Bible. And in the Bible, it means you. So I'm you, I'm us, it's us. And so he went from Kanye, which means the only one, to Ye, which is just being like a reflection of our good, our bad, our confused, and everything. That's what he believes. And I think that's pretty deep. So let me know what you all think about that in the comments. Do you believe that we are all one? I am you, you are me, and we're all reflections of each other? Let me know what you think. That's so interesting to me. And so just know that, our names can change as we change and grow. And it's okay to go ahead and decide on another name as you become the artist that you want to become. Now, you definitely don't have to change your name. It's just something that helps you become that artist that you want to be. Neville Goddard talks about the power of assumption. And when you assume that you're a certain way, you actually become that way, and people around you start treating you that way. So when you change your name, or like Beyonce becoming Sasha Fierce, that's an alter ego that gives her um, more confidence when she's performing. It can be the same for you. So for me, my name is actually Shakilia, and I love that name, don't get me wrong. But something about Kayla Moore, when I decided to pick that name, it represents for me the love that I want to exude in everything that I do. L'amour means love in French. And French is a language that I minored in college. Don't ask me to speak French fluently because I cannot. One day I am definitely going to learn fluently. But for now, I love French, and I decided on K l'amour to exude love and to remind myself to be that loving person in everything that I do when it comes to music and life in general. And so, like I said, my birth name is Shakilia, and it's a derivative of the Arabic name or Muslim name Shakila, which means beautiful. And I do love the name, but for some reason people get it wrong almost every time they say it. It's Shakilia, and they would call me Shaquilla, Shakila. Sometimes they just want to shorten it to Shaq. It's too hard for them for whatever reason. And so it's easier to say K L'amour, and I'm good with it. Also, K L'amour for me, it brings out a kind of sexy, edgy quality that I have inside of me. And when I get on stage and become Kay L'Amour, or when I'm teaching songwriting and I become Kay L'Amour, there's just an energy of confidence that I definitely feel and exude when I'm in that alter ego. It's pretty much in a nutshell that diva, singer, songwriter that I always wanted to be. And having that name helps me to embody it and assume that role. So the second thing I wanted to talk about was how to choose your name. So like I said, you want to choose something that's meaningful and represents you. You don't want to be in a rush and just pick any old name. You want to put some thought into it. Make sure you feel how you want to feel as that artist, as that songwriter that you want to be. And make sure, do your research and make sure that someone else doesn't already have that name. So definitely go on Google, do a Google search and search up the name that you are interested in and make sure no one else has it, because you cannot take someone else's name who already officially has that name. The public is going to identify you as that name. So you want to make sure that you pick a name that you really love. So in addition to Google, you can go on social media. You can also search the trademark database at the US Patent and Trademark Office website, which is uspto.gov. Do you know some of the original names of artists that many of us know? For example, Reginald Dwight is Elton John. Dante Terrell Smith is Mos Def. Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanata is Lady Gaga. Belcalis Almanzar, I know you know who that is. That's Cardi B. Montero Lamar Hill, guess who that is? You got it, Little Nas X. Abel McConan Tesfaye, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that is none other than The Weeknd. Jason Derulo, sounds French to me. You know who that is? Yes, Jason Derulo. And Melissa Jefferson is Lizzo. So, number 3, what do you do after you decide on your name? So, you want to definitely trademark it if you want to make sure that no one else can take that name. You don't have to. You don't have to change your name legally or anything like that. But you may want to trademark your name officially with the US Patent and Trademark Office, as I mentioned earlier, and make sure that you trademark it so no one else can take it. I remember when I trademarked my name, I believe I paid $500 initially, and then every several years you have to pay another fee. So that's something you may want to look into. If you decide not to trademark your name and someone else uses your name, they can become really popular with that name and you won't be able to sue or have a cease and desist sent to them because you don't have an official trademark. Now, I know this became an issue a few years ago with a blues musician named Anita White, who went by the name Lady A for a long time, for like decades. And you all know about Lady Antebellum. They're a country band, and they decided to shorten their name from Lady Antebellum because of some other issues they were having with that name. I guess the connotation of antebellum took them back to war times or something like that. But they decided to shorten Lady Antebellum to Lady A. So Lady Antebellum trademarked Lady A back in 2010, and Anita White never trademarked it. So it became a big mess. And I know they were in the courts about it. I don't know whatever became of it, but in order to prevent such a legal battle, and you have to come up with legal fees and all that craziness, I think it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and trademark your artist name. Now, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the description where you can get step-by-step instructions on how to come up with a name, trademark your name, and everything like that. Make sure you go in the description and click that link below. So to summarize, here's what we talked about today. Number 1, we talked about the importance of choosing the right name for you. Number two, I talked about some tips on how to choose the right name. And number three, we talked about the steps you need to take after you decide on your artist name. So the law of assumption is, of course, tied into the law of attraction. So when you assume you're a certain way, a certain artist, and people reflect that back to you, you start acting differently and you start feeling differently. Once you start feeling differently and your emotions change and elevate, you're going to start attracting things that are on that frequency of your new artist persona. You're going to attract people, circumstances, events. You'll attract opportunities, a lot of things on the wavelength of what you want to be and who you're becoming will definitely come to you. It's like magic. I hope you enjoyed that talk. And if you're ready for private one-on-one songwriting coaching and law of attraction coaching, definitely get on my calendar. There's a link below where we can have a free call so I can hear where you're at, where you want to go, and how I can help you get there. During the coaching, if you want, I can also walk you right through the whole process of getting that artist name that you want. It's all up to you. So click the link below to get on my calendar so we can chat. As usual, it's been a pleasure talking to you. So au revoir, mon ami, a bientôt, and happy songwriting.